God bless you, family. Welcome back to Fridays by the Fire. If you are new here, come on in. I'm so glad to see you. If you are returning, you know how we do it over here. We are over here to talk about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. And tonight's discussion is no different. I'm Sandy Best Life Jones, and I am your host. And I am so thankful to have progressed through another week unscathed. It wasn't drama free, but I learned a few lessons along the way. So I'm thankful. It's good to be back with you again for another episode of Fridays by the Fire. So here's the thing. here's what we're going to talk about tonight. It is my belief that there are Christian women out there that believe they only have two choices when they're dating. They either ignore red flags and they stay in the relationship, or they have to prove that the man is evil before they leave the relationship. And neither of those is true. Sometimes a good man is simply the wrong man for you. And I'm going to pause right there because that has been a for real lesson that I've had to learn while I'm out here dating for the first time in my adult life. So ask me how I know that. Tonight's conversation is for every woman who has ever met a genuinely kind man, a respectful man, an intelligent man, a generous man, a man you enjoyed spending time with. But the more you got to know him, the more you realized your values were leading you towards two different futures. And this is what I want to say up front in the beginning. Sometimes love is not enough. Now, before y'all get mad, just let me explain. Let me explain. I'm not talking about expecting perfection. I'm talking about discovering that two people want fundamentally different kinds of marriages. That's not failure, it's just information. And dating is supposed to reveal that information before you say, I do. Tonight, our key scriptures are found in Amos 3:3, and it says, can two walk together unless they agree? Unless they are agreed? And 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, do not be unequally yoked. So let's get into this, y'all. Point one, dating is discovery. It's not commitment, it's discovery. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that once we like somebody, our job is to just make that thing work. No. I am learning, y'all. And as I learn, I'm going to teach because that is my responsibility. No, the purpose of dating isn't to convince yourself, it's to discover. Every conversation reveals something, every disagreement reveals something. Every discussion about money, faith, family, sex, forgiveness, habits, priorities, it's all data. And sometimes we treat dating like an audition. We're afraid to fail. But dating is not an audition. I'm real clear on that. Dating is not an audition, it's a discovery process. You're learning who the other person is, and you're learning whether your lives are actually compatible, period. That is the purpose of dating. We date for data. Yeah, that's my take on that. And I'm sticking to it. Point two, you don't need a villain to walk away. This is where a lot of women get stuck. We think we need a dramatic reason to leave. He wasn't abusive, he wasn't cruel, he wasn't mean. So maybe I should just stay. But I'm here to set somebody free tonight. Because I need to let you know you don't need a villain to justify your boundary. Sometimes someone is genuinely kind and genuinely not the right partner for you. Those two things can coexist quite beautifully. Walking away doesn't always mean somebody failed. Sometimes it simply means you've learned enough to know you aren't building the same future. I'm going to turn this music down just a little bit more. And that's just the bottom line. You aren't building the same future. You're not on the same page. In a lot of ways, you're not even in the same book. And that's okay. It doesn't make him wrong and you right. It doesn't make you wrong and him right. You're just different. And those differences are making you incompatible. That's all. That's all. Point 3. Compatibility is more than chemistry. Now, chemistry can make you feel like you are connected to this person, but compatibility determines whether you can build a life together. Chemistry says, I enjoy being with you, but compatibility asks the question, can we build a marriage on the same foundation? And that means you got to ask yourself, do we share the same view of commitment? Do we handle conflict in a similar way? Not in an identical way all the time, but in a similar way. Do we value honesty the same way? Do we agree on what faith looks like in daily life? Faith applied to life. Do we agree on what that needs to look like? Do our lifestyles fit together? I believe that love grows best on a foundation of shared values. No, they don't have to be your twin. They don't have to be exactly like you, but there are fundamental values that you should align on. Fundamental values that you should share. And if that's lacking, he might not be the one. Point 4, please stop negotiating your non-negotiables. If it's a non-negotiable, it's a non-negotiable. There is no negotiating. You got to learn to stand on your square when it comes to your standards and your boundaries and your values. Point blank, period. It just is what it is. One of the greatest acts of maturity is knowing the difference between a preference and a conviction. Your preferences are flexible, but your convictions are foundational. Don't be over there talking yourself out of your convictions because you're afraid that you might lose this person. And don't ask anybody else to abandon theirs just to keep you. That goes both ways. Healthy love does not require either person to betray who they are. Healthy love says, I respect you enough not to ask you to become someone you're not. This is not about changing people. This is about knowing yourself well enough to know that you have standards that you will adhere to because you know that's God's best for you. So you don't have to ask anybody to change. You let people be who they are. But when they show you who they are, you need to believe them. And not in a judgmental way, not in a critical way, but just in a way that says, that doesn't align with who I am. It doesn't align with my lifestyle or my values, what I believe for myself. It just doesn't align. It doesn't mesh. It doesn't fit. And that's okay. You can wish people well and you can release them with love. And that doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. It just means that they're not the right person for you. Point 5, let honesty do its job. I think sometimes the greatest gift a person can give you is their honesty. And even when the honesty disappoints you, it might even hurt you. But I think it prevents you from building a future based on assumptions When someone shows you who they really are, don't punish them for being honest with you. Receive that information, pray, reflect, then decide whether the relationship still aligns with the life God is calling you to build. For me, and this is just for me, truth is a gift. Even when it's uncomfortable, it's still a gift. And when someone is gracious enough to tell you the truth and be honest with you about who they are, you need to be thankful, because you're not walking in blindly. You have the data that you need to make an informed decision about whether or not you want to continue in this relationship. So you should be thankful when someone is honest and upfront with you. Don't be upset about that. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it hurts, still be thankful. Thank them for being honest about who they are. Point 6, don't confuse hope with wisdom. Ooh, child. Hope is a beautiful thing, but hope should not be giving you permission to ignore what you've learned. I'm telling you. I hear a lot of women say, maybe he'll change, maybe he'll change. Maybe things will be different after marriage. Ooh, the devil is a lie. Marriage makes you more of who you already were. Whether that's good or bad, I'm just saying, if you've got some habits, or if he has some habits that concern you before the marriage, they're not just going to suddenly be okay after the marriage, unless you are just making them that way. And that gets difficult after a while. Yeah, that gets hard to do after a while. So it's best to acknowledge what concerns you ahead of time and make the decision on whether or not it's something you can live with for the rest of your life, if you're planning on being married for the rest of your life. Some people get married and they already have the divorce option in their mind as they're saying, I do. I'm not that person. If I choose to remarry, I want to remarry for life this time. So I have a responsibility to make sure that my values, my morals, my convictions align with this person that I may be giving my heart to for the rest of my life. I have a responsibility to myself to do that. My faith says, do not be unequally yoked. So I gotta pay attention to the data and not be afraid to look at it, but be clear-eyed about it, be grown about it, realizing that whether I'm in a relationship or not, I am healthy, happy, and whole either way. Amen. Marriage is not designed to transform somebody's core values. It's designed to strengthen a covenant between two people who have already chosen shared values. Don't marry potential, marry character. Don't marry promises, marry patterns. Pay less attention to what somebody says and more attention to what they do and how they show up in the world. Pay attention to that. People can say anything, but who they really are will eventually come out, and you have to pay attention and not be afraid to see it. Matter of fact, pray and ask God to give you ears to hear and eyes to see what you need to see to make the best decision for yourself and for them. Sometimes your decision to walk away blesses them too, because it frees them to meet the person that was really meant for them. So you over here blessing yourself and them. I mean, come on. It may not look like it at the time, but eventually you will see that's what happened. Ask me how I know. Point 7. Walking away can be an act of love. And sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do, is to release someone with dignity. Not because they're beneath you, not because they're beyond redemption, but because forcing a relationship built on conflicting values rarely brings peace. And walking away, in my opinion and from my perspective, walking away says, I respect you enough to let you find somebody who shares your vision. And I respect myself enough not to abandon my vision. That is not rejection, baby. That's wisdom. That's that grown woman wisdom that we talk about over here all the time. Yeah, that's grown woman wisdom. So before I close tonight, I want to leave you with one question. Um, do you often always when you're dating, do you ask, do I like this person? Or do you ask, can I trust the kind of marriage we each be trying to build? Those are two different questions because you can like somebody but not trust that the two of you share enough in common to build a life together. Um, Asking, can I trust the kind of marriage we'd each be trying to build is what protects your future. Because marriage is not, it's not sustained by butterflies. It's sustained by trust, shared values, respect, integrity, faithfulness, and a commitment to build the same kind of life. If those foundations are not there, love alone will not carry the weight of that marriage. It just will not. It will not. I've been there. I've done that. I know how that movie ends. It will not. So don't ignore what God is revealing. Don't rush clarity. Don't negotiate convictions. And don't feel guilty for choosing alignment over attachment. Real talk, I recently had to make a decision about a dating situation. And it wasn't because I stopped liking somebody. It wasn't because I was mistreated. It was just because I realized we were trying to build two different kinds of marriages, two different kinds of relationships. That realization was disappointing, but I also had peace about it. And years ago, the old Sandy might have ignored all those differences just to avoid being alone or avoid disrupting this relationship that we were building. But today, I thank God for the clarity to recognize that compatibility is a blessing. It's not an accident. So if this message helps one woman trust God enough to honor her convictions, then this lesson that I had to learn, it was worth learning. And now that I know better, I can do better. Yeah. Now that I know better, I can do better. So that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another episode of Fridays by the Fire. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so happy that you come back every week. I'm so happy that you send me messages. I'm so happy that you watch and that you share every episode. I appreciate you. I pray that something I say will touch your heart, give you something to think about, help you get a little clarity, help you feel better about a decision that you made that was uncomfortable or even painful, because you know that the decision you made was for your own good, and to continue to walk in what it is that God has for you. That can be difficult, even though intellectually you know this is the best for you. This is God's best for you. That heart thing sometimes wants to override what you know you need to do, because you start being attached to someone, you start having feelings for someone. Next thing you know, you squinting and you got to turn your head to look at the situation to try to make it fit the way you need it to fit. No, 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 girl. We don't do that. We grown over here. Mm-mm. We look at things straight up. We tell the truth about what we see, and then we move accordingly. Thank you again for being here tonight. God bless you. I want to end tonight's show with my song that I wrote. It's called Good Man. And I've gotten really good feedback about this song. People are funny. It's kind of like when God gives you a gift and you use it to his glory, what comes out of that can touch the hearts of people in such a special way. And that's the feedback that I've received about this song. So thank you for letting me know that you resonate with it and the words mean something to you, because those words mean something to me too. All right, until then, and in the meantime, y'all be good. God bless. Good night.
Glowing in the dark, she been choosing peace since the first love broke her heart. She walked past mirror, smiles, God did that. Bold and encouraged, head crowned in rap. She ain't in a rush, heart on a shelf, waiting on a man who can love her like she loves herself. Ooh, yeah. I'm saving all this love for my good man. Yeah, yeah. Body, mind, and soul in his good hands. I'm grown and I know what I'm made of. I'm a woman of faith. I'm a woman of faith. Yeah. I know when it's the right kind of real love. When it's time, you gon' meet me in the light, not the club. Till then, I'm held, I'm whole, I stand, I'm ready. But I'm waiting on my good man. Friday night, she home unbothered, being me. Journal in the Psalms, Anita Wilson on repeat. Silk jammies, whip shit, laughing on the phone, telling her girls I'd rather be alone. I'm grown than lay with anybody who can't pray with me. Touch my spirit, not my body. This ain't that child, please. She got standards, they ain't moving for a fine face. You can't buy her respect or treat her any kind of way. I'm saving all this love for my good man. Oh, I am. Body, mind, and soul in his good hands. Yeah, yeah. I'm grown and I know what I'm made of. I'm a woman of faith. I'm a woman of faith. Yeah. I know when it's the right kind of real love. When it's right, you gon' meet me in the light, not the club. In the light. Till then, I'm held, I'm whole, I stand. But I'm waiting on my good man.